morning. Actually, I'm not. Actually, situation is much worse than directionless. If I'm the pilot, I am this person, this pilot who actually likes the wrong direction. And worse is that I actually kind of know what is the right direction, but the wrong direction is just so inside me, and you just have to what do you call it? Brace yourself. Okay. So when the teaching was requested, I suggested sadhana as the subject because I'm assuming that a lot of the participants here will be already have done Nyingthi Gyalji, the teachings that it happened in Chuling Monastery. And I thought maybe sadhana, because sadhana is something to do with sort of the roadmap of practice, the structure of the practice. So this is why this topic is chosen. Now, obviously, this is a Vajrayana or a tantric subject. But this is also kind of an open program. So we are also assuming that there's a lot of others who have probably not even sort of started with any fundamental Buddhist teachings, and they just, I don't know, walked in here. So this is something I understand. I will, of course, it is my kind of discipline to try my best not to reveal things that cannot be revealed to those who are uninitiated. But I think generally, for some reason, Tantra is out there. In fact, some of the most exclusive tantric teachings, now you can Google it. You can get it from there. But having said that, tantric discipline is such a unique discipline. So let's say if my guru had told me that my practice is to keep secret the existence of, let's say, Sunday. After Saturday comes Sunday. Before Monday comes Sunday. If my guru tells me that I have to keep the existence of Sunday secretly, I know this is almost impossible, it is ridiculous, but that's how the Tantra works, because it is a totally different kinds of, exercise or journey. And also, I need to take the opportunity to clarify and introduce for those who are very new to generally Buddhism and especially Tantra. I will take this opportunity, and this may be also helpful for those who consider seasoned tantric practitioner, because many times the seasoned so-called dharma practitioner, whatever tradition you follow, tantric practitioners especially, we tend to forget the base, the foundation. We always forget. And I was just talking to a few people yesterday in the afternoon. The fact that culture and the language plays such an important role as a human, and there is bound to be a lot of cultural miscue. I have always said this: culture and the dharma are two different things. If you want to drink a glass of water, if you want to drink water, you need some sort of a container like a glass, even scoop. With your hand it will do, but whatever, something to drink, use to drink the water. But the water is the more important, right, for the thirst, not really the cup or the whatever the tool you are using. But you cannot also dismiss the cup, because it really helps. It makes things easy. The thing is, we tend to really sometimes separate the culture and the dharma too much, actually. And that may also become so abstract. Unless you are a practitioner that has a superior faculties, you may not be able to do it right. Sometimes, and this is most of the time, we intertwine, mingle the culture and the teaching too much. So Tantra is the same thing. The Tantra, as it is traveling from, let's say Kashmir to Tibet, to China, to Japan, to Indonesia in the past, and perhaps maybe to Cambodia, Afghanistan. The local culture, language has always played very, very, significant roles. And this will continue, I think. Now there is a new culture also coming. The Western, and have to be also, it's important. So there's a pure Westerner, like totally born in the Western family for generations. So there's that. And then this is actually quite an interesting phenomenon. There is a lot of westernized, let's say Indian, Chinese. They have a totally different cultural cue. They have not really given up, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, the Asian way of thinking, Asian cultural cue. But they have been, from the very young time, they have been bombarded with the Western way of thinking. In fact, Hong Kong Chinese family who has a children will do everything to send their kids to the West to be, stuffed with all the Western cultural cue. And then this same family will be expecting this child will come back and act like the ancient Tang Dynasty Chinese way of thinking. So this kind of thing is always there. So because of that, Tantra has been also, I have to say though, many times in the midst of all this cultural misunderstanding and miscue and cue, and sometimes it's kind of also interesting. Sometimes things just appears interestingly and kind of also awakening and inspiring. But many times it has also created a lot of problems, which we will discuss. Okay. So because it's a tantric, sort of a tantric related subject, the tradition, requires to do some sort of a supplication prayer. So, Deepa, is she here? Oh, can you do that? Are you going to do it? Yeah, you can do this. You have a mic? Okay. So, Deepa will do a short prayer. You can just have the calm here and now attitude as Ajir have requested.
गन्धजलपूतां पुष्पयोक्तां भुवं मेरुचतुर्द्विपार्केन्दुभूषितां बुद्धक्षेत्रत्वेदीममर्पयामि यतः सर्वसत्त्वा शुद्धक्षेत्रे रमन्ताम् इदं गुरुरत्नमण्डलकं निर्यातयामि सामान्यनाथहीनेन यानेन महतापि वा सत्त्वरुचिबुद्धिभिन्नं धर्मचक्रविधीयताम्.
Okay. So, because it's a sadhana, I will already start like, so she has done that, and meanwhile, the teacher or the expounder or the someone who is going to share the information, like in this case myself, my sort of job is also to think that I am not an ordinary human being. I am, by nature or however you want to put it, I am perfect being, like a Samandabhadra or a Hey Vajra or a Aryatara, whatever. So that's what I've done. I also have to think that the listener are not an ordinary being. They are all Vidyadharas, Dakas and Dakinis, and by nature, they may, we all may appear imperfect, but in reality, this is so that this is how the Tantra works. Not only that, this place that we are now sitting is also not bound by direction, space, smell, the heat, sound. This place is a pure realm or a channel ground if you are more sort of, hardline tantrika. And then also I'm supposed to think the audience are not just this that is in front of me. They are gods, they are nagas, they are asuras, they are all the beings who are always longing to hear generally the teachings of the Buddha and especially the Tantra. So I now summon them. I'm sharing this as an information so that you have some kind of idea of what Tantra is, and it will set up the concept of sadhana. Okay. Now the sadhana. Sadhana is translated as a drupthap in Tibetan. I don't speak Sanskrit at all. Very, very few words. Sanskrit is such an important and amazing language. A little bit of a Sanskrit that I know, I get so fascinated, just amazingly fascinated. And there's so much things to discover. I mean, the fact that India has something like 52 terms for mind. Each of them have its own nuances. That just says everything. I mean, if any of our psychologists, psychotherapists even go through some of these terms, it could really benefit, I think. a lot. Because right now, the term mind is something very vague. Some are very adamant about that being just a, what is it? Brain function. Some talks about mind in a totally different level, kind of a very, I don't know, supernatural level. Anyway, drup tap, drupi tap. The drup, the word drup has something to do with making, establishing, accomplishing. And tap is skill or method. So it has the connotation of acquiring or accomplishing, trying to accomplish. And in order to accomplish this, you use these tools, these methods. The classic example that the tantric teachings always gives us is, if you want a butter, butter is sort of within the milk, but you need to do something. You can't just wait and ask the milk to turn into butter. And you need to do something, such as churning, like a spoon or whatever, nowadays machine. You need to have that. And many, many times, this is something so amazing, many times the skill or the method is almost like unlikely. You know, like if you have a water inside your ear, then you put a little bit of more water, and then, you know, things like that. The skills are sometimes very contradictory and shocking and something kind of unlikely. Like, I think you know the point. And sometimes very, like something also very unattractive or small. Like if you need to go inside the house, you need a key. And the keys are usually small. They don't necessarily look beautiful. House is beautiful, big. It has a lot of things inside. But the key, you can put it in the pocket. But without the key, you can't go in. You know, like that. So tap, upaya, skillful means. It is always, and then usually this tap or the skillful means is always related to a certain beings, meaning culture, right? So so a Nepali, Himalayan Nepali, for instance, have generation of their culture, upbringing, family background, mountain air, I don't know, all kinds of, background. And for a probably I'm speaking about myself, for some of us, like in Nepal, like the moment you enter Bauda, you hear this endless bell or this all kind of smell of incense, butter lamp. Somehow it just makes you so soothing and so enchanting and just so magical. This may not necessarily work with some people from, I don't know, sorry, I can't think of example, from Auckland. Okay, this may not necessarily work. So skillful means is always related to things, a culture. Skill, yeah, and this is why also a lot of things get miscued and misunderstood. This happens a lot, I want to say that. But before we go into this, drup, sadhana has this connotation of accomplishing. So it sounds like you have something to accomplish, a goal. Now, this is something that we need to discuss, perhaps this morning. Very important. Now, this is fundamental. Fundamental. I have to now sort of talk few more steps to establish this goal. So, for instance, in the general Sharvakayana or the Theravada tradition, the goal is liberation. In order to, liberate oneself from this endless entanglement of samsara, whatever. There are amazing methods, so many methods. Methods as simple as sitting straight. Because, it also does something. Sitting straight, between sitting straight and lying in a hammock with a margarita in your hand, chances of you getting closer to the liberation sitting straight. Depends, again, it really depends on the different people, but we have to generalize. This is something that you need to know, especially people like me, who is now giving you the teaching or whatever, guide, I have no, forget Buddha's 10 power, even a sort of a very, very sort of low tier bodhisattva's ability. Meaning, I don't know, you are specific, each of you. And you are also very complicated, because what is you just this morning and right now has changed. Perhaps these rays of the sun is really just annoying you. So I need to, right this very moment, I don't know how to catch that moment. If you are bothered by the heat, this sun, this sort of the whole setup, this being bothered is such an important vessel. And if I am really a powerful bodhisattva, I will know how to use that vessel. Anything will do. You don't even have to come here with sorry, but calm and here now. You can be completely worked up, and I would know how to use this worked up state. I would, but I'm not. Therefore, the only thing I can do is generalization. And that's okay. It's okay. It's like if you have Chinese guests for your dinner, a little bit of noodles, it will do. Some Italians, maybe red wine, it will, the guests will be okay. You understand? Bhutanese, maybe some chilies and rice. Oh yeah, that's perhaps, you understand? French, oh gosh. Now I have to do some shopping in this case. Anyway, you understand but so generalization is what I have to do. So when I do generalization, I'm doing generalization like this. So, okay, aside from the beings I have invited, like ghosts, gods, asuras, I've just invited them because it's a tradition. But I'm sure they also know how incapable I am, and they're just sitting here just because to the respect to this man. But for me, I'm looking at you, and when I generalize, I think like, okay, these guys are human beings. So meaning, okay, human beings, that's a good generalization. Perhaps maybe some of you are half human beings only. That's what, according to the Tibetans, actually many of us are not really 100% human being. We are like at least 10% ghost. There's something called Sunday. I don't know whether you have ever heard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're human beings, and you must be looking for something. That's a good one. If you are looking for something, then you are weak. That's good for me. Because that means you are insecure. So along this line, because also you are born in the what we call human realm, and according to the Indian philosophy or the Buddhist tradition, human realm is a desire realm. So I'm assuming that you have a lot of desire. And then along the line, you may have aggression, so on and so forth. So these are the generalization I have to make. Surely, there may be some 10th Bhumi Bodhisattvas here. I'll be very nervous. They have none of this what I just said. In one way, I'll be very nervous because this 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva is looking at me. Oh gosh, why? He's making fool of himself. But on the other hand, I have nothing to worry because the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva will hear even the dogs barking as the teaching. So whatever I say, the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva will hear according to his or her capacity. So nothing will be wasted. In fact, the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattvas may be hearing much, much more than what I'm even intending to talk. So that's how it is. Okay, so as I said, in the Theravada tradition, goal is the liberation, and the method, so many, such as sitting straight, such as offering alms, such as really contemplating on things like anicca, that everything is impermanent, such as, and then, as you develop, as you get more matured, contemplating and understanding anatta, selflessness, so on and so forth. And then what happens? By knowing anicca, dukkha, anatta, you then end up knowing the truth that everything is impermanent. And then what does that do? At least somebody who even has a little understanding of anicca will be liberated from this thinking that, we do have fixation towards things as permanent, unchanging, or at least like, we all used to be just about a kilo. And now look at us. We have become like this. Oh my goodness. In about 20 years, we will look different. But we have always thought we are the same one. See? Not understanding the anicca. And therefore, this clinging, I am the same one, has, put us into a lot of trouble. I'm just giving you this as an example. So the goal is liberation from this delusion, and the delusion of thinking things as real, things as permanent, things as pleasure, so on and so forth. So the same thing in the Tantra, but of course the Tantra has, and especially it does not contradict with the Sarvakayana or the Theravada tradition. It does not, of course, contradict with the Mahayana tradition. But Tantra has its own exclusive goal. Exclusive goal. And what is that? In the Tantra, the exclusive goal of the sadhana is to know. There's also many different kinds of tantric sort of method, right? I'm only choosing few. So let's say, usually when we talk about a sadhana, we are always talking about a deity practice, deity. So we are coming to that one now, deity practice, or a deity practice, or practice of deity. So exclusive tantric goal is to really know that you are deity. That is the real goal. Meaning, you already have the goal. You just have to know that you have that. This is the real sort of the goal of the day, goal of the sadhana. It's very important because, so this leads us to the subject of deity. And deity has confused people so much. And it's kind of, like when the Muslims came to India and destroyed all those idols. From one angle, it's understandable. I have a little sympathy. You go to this country, and we all think we are the more civilized, right? Every nation, every society, we think we are exceptional. We have the right path. We have the right direction. So so Muslims and the British, when they come, they just think, what is this? Monkey as a god? And looking at Shiva and Parvati, Uma, elephant god, oh, these primitive people, they need to be saved. They need rescued. Some sort of a compassion. There's some sort of a compassion there. They have a really bad idea. At least the Hindu gods that present day you have in India. I have a lot of things to say about this, but some of our Indian, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Can Indian audience remind me this? I have to say this just to annoy you guys. The Indians have caved in a lot to the modern thinking, so much. If India is brave, they should be really, flagging and, promoting Khajuraho temple. Have you been? Now there is something mind-boggling. But, India is now trying to be part of the, G8, G9, G20, whatever. So you can't do that. So see, culture, politics, all this has an influence. So this is how the Muslims, the British, they misunderstood the deity. So then and out of there, trying to civilize, save from the wrong path, destruction of Lot. This has happened. So, but that's on a really, really sort of gross level. But on a subtle level also, deity is always misunderstood, even by the seasoned tantrika. And sometimes, Ajit was talking about the pilot and the directionless. And I was saying, well, actually, I'm much worse than a directionless. I'm somebody who knows what is the right direction, but so attached to the wrong direction. So I will immediately tell you this. I am someone who has studied past 60 years Tantra, relentlessly reading, just finished reading 9 days of Longshenpa's work. And I know that I am deity. But my habit is so strong, I still want to pray to the deity as he or she is there, up there. And I also tell you, yes, Manjushri is in front of you, Avalokiteshvara is in front of you. He and she or these deities is always going to save you, blessing, light, all of that. I'm so attached to this. And you are too. If I tell you you are deity, yeah, it might sort of give you a little bit of a, I don't know, nice feeling, but immediately after 10 minutes you will come back to me and say, and then ask for help. And then if I tell you to pray like a theistic, confess, cry, throw flowers, burn incense. The Nepali temple goers, they actually burn the incense and bring right close to the nose of the statue and wave. It's kind of so beautiful, actually. I like that. I also do this put it in front of the Buddha's nose. Be like this. So that's what I mean. There's a struggle. I know what is the right direction, but the attachment to the wrong direction. Because, remember I said, human beings, insecurity. But then, this is, very complicated. Now, the modern world, wow. At least in the past, you have gods to blame to and talk to. Now the gods have been fired by the scientists. Now there's nobody. So then you begin to blame yourself. And then, destroying yourself. So on and so forth, right? Anyway, knowing and realizing and actualizing one is ourself, is the deity, is the goal of the sadhana. But now, what is deity? We need to talk about this. And can we take 10 minutes break? Is that okay? Yeah? 10 minutes break. Should we take break now or maybe later? Oh, okay. Well, she says don't take breaks, so. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Don't. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the deity. While it's still, please use the umbrella, whatever. So we are going to talk about the deity. Very, very, very important, difficult, but at the same time, it's actually so simple. It's ridiculously simple. And if you can get it, I think it will also really give you a real confidence to something called bliss. The deity is this. Okay. So, let me try a few things, okay? I'm using classic tantric examples. Okay, so this is a tantric phrase. A newborn baby will have no ability to chew solid food. So what do? You make it easy to swallow and interesting to swallow, such as sugar. Something, I don't know. You are the mother, you want your baby to survive. So solid food might actually kill the baby even. You don't want to, you want to be very careful. Okay? So, let's say you are these babies. And today I'm the mother and I am giving you the food. In this case, I am supposed to tell you, I'm supposed to give you deity. Now, the solid deity, the real deity is this, the sound that we hear, this knower of the sound, the one that is cognizing the heat. This just, cognition, the mind. And you must have. If you don't have, you don't have to be here, because it's pointless. Surely you have to have a mind. If you don't have mind, you don't have sadness, you don't have anger, you don't have hope, you don't have fear. You're just like a stone. You do have a mind. And I'm not even talking about a special mind, like a calm, compassionate. No. Just any. Whatever you are thinking. Hideous thing, blissful thing, inspiring thing, mundane thing such as the sound of the fan. This is the deity. But you see, now I've become the bad mother, unskilled mother, because I've given the 1-week-old baby a solid food. This solid food will choke the baby, probably to death, and the baby will never want it. Next time you bring this food to the baby, never want it. Of course. So now if I'm a better mother, better mother, then I will have to sweeten it. I will have to make it to what you call mashed potato, like liquid, like even package it nicely. And this is where we have things like Padmapani. Padmapani, Avalokiteshvara, just like us, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 hands, holding a lotus, not too, dramatic. Lotus is nice. And it's so soothing. A flower, for some strange reason, we human beings love this flower, especially if it is held by somebody. So all that, I have to mesh it like this. But as a mother, my job is not to keep you remain baby. Day by day, I have to make the approach to the solid food. I have to make it so that you will grow up, because when so that you become independent, so to speak. So then after 2 or 3 weeks, I will change Padmapani to Avalokiteshvara. Suddenly Avalokiteshvara, 4 arms. Now that's much more dramatic, because we don't have 4 arms people walking around. So we add a little bit of, yes, still normal. Avalokiteshvara has 2 eyes and still normal, looks like a human being. but also abnormal because there's extra 2 hands. How would you feel if there's a 4-arm human beings walking around in Beat Street? But so we add. So the baby is now growing. Now you are ready with a Padmapani, soft food finished, Avalokiteshvara, even 1,000 arms. Between 4 arms and 1,000 arms, not much difference. Because by the time you can accept 4 arms, 1,000 arms actually even more easy. It's like this. Sometimes when things are totally mind-boggling, it's easier to accept. But anyway, the next, now getting closer to the solid food, okay? Next, I will say, I will give you Hayagriva. And there, you might get a little bit shocked. That's the Padmapan? You will say, that's the Avalokiteshvara? I will say, yes. This is actually a more real one, I would say. I've been actually giving you cooked, sweetened, with all sorts of flowers next to the dish, and sing songs. But this time, I want you to try, organic, uncooked. Hayagriva. This is much more shocking because you have been used to what we human beings have a certain values, like nice behavior is a good value. So somebody walking with a lotus, now that's kind of nice, acceptable. Hayagriva, with his fangs and wrathful look, too arrogant, too haughty. But then you will begin to accept that. This is still too more. Now you have begun to accept this because you are growing up. Then one day I will bring a horse. So this is it. This is the Hayagriva. Hard time to understand. The last one, really difficult one. Hayagriva in union with a consort. Why it's difficult? Because culturally we have a taboos. You don't go around having sex in the public, you understand? You don't, sex and stuff like this considered naked, it's not acceptable, it's not politically correct, it's not ethically correct, you understand, this is. But let's say you accept that, and then next level, but actually now I'm jumping to the next level of the Tantra. So that set is finished now. Okay, that's set. Now you have become, 18, 19. Adolescence is almost finishing, 21 years old, maybe. Then I will say, okay, all these, Padmapani, Khasarpani, Avalokiteshvara, 4 arms, 1,000 arms, I've been lying to you, Those are not real deity. Then you say, what is it? Om Mani Padme Hum, that's it. So now I turn the deity into letter. And then it goes all the way to the letter Shri, or Om, or A. And even that to Nadi. And then you will think, okay, can't go further more. Now this must be it. Then I will say, no. Even the Nadi need to be dissolved. Then what is there? Nothing but everything all together. And that has always been with you, and that is always you. And this is, anyway, I'm this is one way to introduce you what is deity. It's difficult. You have to have a sympathy with people who have destroyed the statues. How do you explain these things to them? There's no time and there's no capacity. Okay, let's try more academical way of establishing the deity. What is deity? This glass of water that you and I see it as a water, moisture, I always forget this, H2O for the scientists. Villagers, they don't know. You try and say, can I have a glass of H2O? It doesn't work. It works still. When it's in the glass, like this, placed in a beautiful tray, it's drinkable. If it is in the washing basin, maybe a little different. If it is in the toilet, different attitude towards it. Can you see how many different things? And then more, if there's a fish inside, they have a whole different perception. That magic, that something can be everything. This is a deity. I hope I'm managing to introduce you the deity. Am I confusing you too much? I hope not. This is the deity. This what the tantric call magical phantasmagorical net, they call it. And don't think there is only one item somewhere. Everything. There is a list, specially piled up, put it together by a great scholar called Rongzompa, which is actually even prior to Longshenpa. Such an amazing scholar. You should really read his. So beautiful. But it's really long-winded also. I enjoy reading all the list of what different beings see, how they interact with phenomena such as fire. Well, according to Rongzompa, there's an insect or a being that takes bath with a fire. The only way to cleanse themselves is by fire. And this is true with everything, by the way. I really need to get this name of this tribe in Africa. I think for them, solid is liquid. Oh, good example, those Mexican or the Mayan game, they have a game, competition, serious. And the winner is those whose head gets chopped off. You understand? Not the one who is chopping. One who loses the head is the winner. This is a different phenomenon. Totally. And it actually exists within everything. And this also is confusing a lot of people. For instance, I have noticed this myself with a lot of Bhutanese. The word good means different things. For those Bhutanese who have been to, like Darjeeling, Kalimpong English schools, and versus those who grow up in Bhutanese village. For them, good means different. This is actually deity. So deity, okay, so that's one way. Tea break? No, can you tell me? Is it now? Are you sure? Okay, just one more and then I'll finish, just the deity. Okay, this one is the serious one. And since there's a mixture of audience, I have to also speak some serious stuff. Okay, you have a mind. Of course you do. How can you not? Look at the mind. What is it? It has no color, it has no shape, it has no time, it has no direction. Yet, you cannot say it's a void. You cannot say it does not exist. There is always a knowing, not necessarily a thought, but some sort of a knowing. You do have that. And I'm not even telling you this as some sort of a mythological sort of a statement. Go ahead, experience it right this very moment. It's there, but also you cannot say it's this. I can say, here, this is my phone. Can't really say, oh, here, this is my mind. This emptiness and this clarity or the luminosity has no order. It's not like emptiness comes first and then the luminosity comes later. Emptiness is the luminosity, luminosity is the emptiness. I sometimes say, to understand more simply, it's there, but it's also not there together, simultaneously. Karma, the Kajuba lineage, or the Sarahar people, Telopa people, they use the beautiful word called Sahaja, co-emergent, I don't know, together, emerging, Sahaja. Hlenche, Hlen, together, born. But the thing is, the moment I use the word together, your mind immediately decides there are two things. Because until you have two things, you can't have it together, right? But actually there's no two things. But are you sure there's no two things? No, I'm not sure too. Because there's the emptiness aspect and there's the luminosity aspect. You have this. You cannot eject it. You can lose your finger if you want to. You can cut your hair. You can clip your nail. You can cut off a lot of your body or whatever, you understand? But this sahaja, you cannot lose it. And don't think that you Buddhists have it only. Everybody has it. Donald Trump has it. Dogs have it. Birds have it. Just because you have it doesn't mean anything. Until I say, hello, this is a spoon. Let's say you never know what this is. Until I say, this is spoon and this is used for like this. Spoon you can collect millions of spoons. It's not going to work as a spoon. It's just probably you can use it for some other thing, but it will never function as a spoon. You have this Buddha, you have this deity, but until you have been told and you recognize it and you actually accomplish it, sadhana, you try to get hold of it, it's not going to function as a deity. So this is why even though you are Buddha, you don't act like one, you don't think like one, you don't speak like one, you don't eat like one, you don't shower like one, you don't plan like one, you don't strategize, you don't, I don't know, you are not devious enough. Devious? Plotting? Yeah, you have some small plotting going on, but it's just so small. And then what happens? We forget this innate deity, and forgetting the innate deity means you actually get attached to the dualistic phenomena. And the dualistic phenomena then become like a dualistic solid phenomena. So, for instance, if day after day the Deer Park people come here and worship this screen with the flowers and incense, and people will slowly start to dream that this screen behind me talks to them in the dream. And some people might get prediction, blessings. And after maybe about 50 years, hundreds and thousands of people from all over India will come to pay darshan to this screen. That's how a phenomena gets fattened, become gross existence. And I'm telling you this because that's how we end up having body, because we have been distracted, become dualistic. And then what's wrong with having a body? Well, we need to go and pee. We need to go and have a tea break. So that's what we are going to do. Tea break.